Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Paterson, back again with a new logo critique video, and I'm outside today. The weather in England is just so hot. I need to get outside and do something about the situation in my office. It's just a horrible sweat fest in there. So I'm just sat out in my little patio garden thing, and I'm going to critique some of your logos. And just before we get into the logo critique, if you haven't already, please press that red subscribe button down below and the notification bell so you never miss out on a video that I upload on here, because YouTube keep messing about with the subscription service. It's messing me about a lot. Okay, so the first logo critique is from Adam Ma, and he says that he's an A-level student in design and photography, and he is basically upping his portfolio by making fake work for himself, or should I say example work or pretend briefs. So he sent me the Illustrator file, and this is what I was sent, and it is SoundSpot. So again, whenever you're sending me a logo, you should tell me a bit more about it. I know this is a music company or a sound company, but I'm not too sure if it's like a streaming service. Now, the cool thing I like about this is that it's very playful, but that's also the problem with this. And there's a couple of things that I don't like about the logo, but overall, I like the balance that you've got going on here. It's very unique and it is memorable. And also, when you're looking at logo designs, you can see here that you've got this weird curve thing going on there. And I'm just going to fix that for you ever so slightly, because we don't actually need these curved lines here. You've gone ahead and made everything a bit too curvy. And the other problem with this is if you have a look at the O's, they are huge compared to the S's. I'll just put this O in red. So generally when you're working with type, the S and the O, if I was just to choose Myriad Pro, and we'll go to, you know, maybe a Gotham Black actually, the actual typography should be relatively similar to each character, you know? So the way that you want it is that you'd want this O to be thin as well. So there's different ways. This is a very crude way of manipulating it, but I understand that you're just starting out in logo design. So what I would do is literally manipulate it so it looks a bit more like that. And I'd also get rid of, like, I don't know why, this shouldn't look vintage at all, because it would look amazing if it was clean. Like so. You don't need these things in the corners because that stops legibility from being seen correctly. And then you've got the outlined version down here, which is pretty cool, and you've created this sort of border around it. Now, you've got to be really careful with logos like this, and the reason why you've got to be careful is because you've got something that looks like the Spotify logo in there. You can see the little icon on the S, and that's one of the major reasons you've got to be careful with what kind of logo you're showing to other people. I know there's like 3 bands here on the Spotify logo, and it kind of looks like the Wi-Fi symbol a little bit, and you've done the same here. And I also know that's the sound waves, as you said. It looks very good, but I just think that it's not spatially correct. But dude, I think you should be using a typeface, not necessarily hand lettering it in or pen tooling it in or manipulating it that much, just because you're going to run into all these problems unless you know more about typography in itself. Overall, it looks really good. What I would suggest to do though is if you to make this really small, it is readable, but it's hard. It all merges sort of into one. So what I would do is maybe, you know, create an even bigger offset. You know, just doing these slight little improvements inside of here could make it so much better, and I like it a lot. It works well. Let's get the gradient sorted out first, and there you go. I think that looks a bit better, but what I would suggest to do is use a clean font for this, kind of like the Spotify one, and maybe change up your icon so that other people don't think you're copying Spotify. And just before we move on to the next part or the next critique, I just want to say this video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is a learning community online where you can learn anything from business, photography, cooking, lettering, logo design, graphic design, motion graphics, you name it, you can learn it on there. In the description below there's a link, and the first 200 people to click that link will get Skillshare free for 2 months. And also, if you take like a logo design class or a different class on Skillshare and upload what you've done in accordance to that class, the teacher might actually give you a critique, which I think is pretty nifty. Okay, on to the next critique. This next one is from what I believe the name is Paterson. He says, "Morning Will, here's a logo design for a holding company. The logo is representing yachts, ocean, sky, horizon line, and thinking beyond the horizon. Also, there's a symbolic ATA hiding in this image." Awesome, so this is called Genius Electromechanical Technologies, and this is supposed to be sort of like a yacht. First off, what I really like is this sort of typeface you've got going on here. I'm not too sure what you've used. It's Verdana. I like this typeface, but what I don't like is this gradient that you've got going on here. I would just keep it really simple, even just lightening it up a tiny touch, like so. And also what else I would do is, actually let's make a copy of this so I can show you exactly what I would do, because the problem is you've got a bit of a balance issue here. So we're going to highlight all of this, I'm going to bring it down, we're going to outline this, and we're going to change that to an actual solid, we're going to change it to a solid shape right there, and then we're going to move this down a tiny touch. Now I think you've gone ahead and made something strange out of this S, and I want to change it really badly. And what I would do is I would just change this S. I'm not too sure why it's in there. I guess that's a hidden meaning, but it doesn't really work because you've got too many anchor points going on in there for the logo. You can see here, so many unnecessary anchor points going on there, which isn't a bad thing if you don't understand it. But there's a lot of unnecessary things going on there, and I think I broke your design over here. And as for this logo icon, I think there's a few issues here. For instance, I would make them less pointy, like so. I like everything to have, like, you know, this flowy type of thing going on. And I know it's supposed to be a yacht and a reflection of a yacht, I guess. But it would be nice to see maybe if we could, I don't know, bring this down a little bit. We don't need it to be as big as that. And maybe we could center all of this if we align it to the center and see what it's like. Kind of like that. I think that looks a lot better, but what we could do as well is if we make a new artboard for you, dude, we could ungroup this and we could take all of this, bring it to the middle. The thing that I really want to know is it going to be noticeable when it's small? So that's what I would do. I think about taking away the gradients because you won't always use them. I don't know if you have done that. I mean, you've got different colors here. I prefer this one, this light one. It's a lot more professional. I do like the color choice we've used here, like a blue, a desaturated blue. It's very professional, very corporate, and you've used different colors to show it, or gradients. I would stick to flat colors though for logos right now, because gradients, although they do work, not for this style of corporate design. This next one is from Vibe Son, and he says, "Hello Will, you've been a huge inspiration to me in my graphic design studies. I want to create a freelancer logo for myself, vibes, but I'm stuck. I don't know if the I goes with the typeface anymore, and I'd really appreciate your feedback on this. Thanks." Okay, so here is your logos here. I'm not too sure which one you're going with. I think you just sent me a bunch of other things. This could be your mood board down here, or it could be your work, but I have a feeling it's your mood board for your colors and stuff. First things first, let's have a look at the actual logo here. So the problem here is that a lot of people will be reading this as Vobes, and I'm not the only one who will do this. And the reason why is because the V is wider than the I normally. I'll just illustrate this really plainly, like so. So the I is the thinnest part of the word vibes. So when the brain looks at this and it's like really small, it's going to struggle seeing that as vibes. It's going to say Vobes because the B here is also very thin. But I see what you're trying to do here. You're trying to keep everything in the same order and very consistent. But for typography and logo types like this, I think it goes a bit too much and it turns into an illustration. So I would see what you could do to change that. Maybe have like a better, just like one stick in there or something that works a bit better. As for the I icon, I'd like to see what you could do with it that's a bit different. I would maybe even, you know, add something else in there, maybe like another circle or something along the lines of this, where you could, you know, have a little glimmer of something. I'm not too sure. I know you're trying to keep all the line weights in there correct, but it might be an idea just to have that in there, just to give some sort of detail to the eye. Otherwise, it kind of looks like, you know, a sun or a cactus, a bit of a cactus. It's just weird. But although it is weird, I think it looks cool in the sense that you've gone to extreme detail here and you've made sure that all the lines here work correctly. And also when you're presenting this logo, I think a lot of people have an issue, but The problem is you've expanded the paths, and I think you've recreated and you actually penned this out. This next one is from Carolina, and she says, "Hi, Will, I'm excited with sending you one of my logos, and it's really great that you're doing this thing for other designers. I'm sending you a file with a logo design for a medical center called Spec Med, and you also said that you're trying to specify in there that it's a specialist medical center. So let's have a look at your logo here. The first thing is that I love the colors. They are really futuristic, and the second thing is that I love the way that you've got everything very friendly but professional. The problem is, we have the NHS logo in the UK. It's very, very corporate. It's not friendly at all. The first thing I love, I'm a type guy by the way, is your sense of hierarchy here. So the first thing that I see is Spec Med, which is awesome. You've got a level of contrast here. So you've got Spec and Med, which shows specialized medical center. The only thing that I would suggest though is maybe playing around with this to make the spec the less seen thing. So maybe have Med as the bold text. Also, the icon looks really good as well. The only issue I have in here is that it looks like it's someone from Anonymous, and you've got to be really careful with logos like this, because I know you want to be abstract, you don't want to have a certain type of face on there, and you want to be culturally appropriate and not offend any SJWs or anything like that, but you've got to have some sort of face if you're going to have a guy in there, even if it's just like a line or something. Even to the point of where these lines here could be like one of those stethoscopes, because I know there's, those things where you read or listen to your heart and your lungs. My dad was a doctor, I used to play with it when I was younger. You'd put this little metal thing on your heart and you could hear it. I think these would line up really well to the ears, and it could be dangling here. Not sure if that's what you were trying to do or not. But all the spacing and everything is really good. I think this is one of my favorite logos that I've seen on the Logo Critique. You're a definite graphic designer, you know everything about it. It's very friendly, and you've made it friendly by adding those curved lines to it. And by that I mean, I don't know what typeface you used here, but when you've got Spec Med, the company name, it's very friendly and curvy. Just watch out for the E down here, by the way. There's some strangeness going on just here. And also Medical Center is in a much more corporate typeface as well. I'm not even too sure what typeface you've given. The colors also work really well. I like them. I'm actually going to steal your gradient here because I think that those colors that work super well with this project, especially when it's inverted. Now I can see here that this looks pretty cool as well. You've got the icon, it's got the the cross on it, which is a universal symbol for the Red Cross or medical help. Honestly, I really like it. There's not much I can say about it. I'm actually quite inspired by this work. I think you should definitely do more freelance branding projects and logo design. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave that thumbs up. Also, make sure to press that red subscribe button. And if you want to see more logo critiques, then please press that notification bell as well. Also, a huge shout out to Skillshare again for sponsoring this logo critique. Guys, honestly, I don't think I'll be able to do my job or my business without Skillshare, because in my line of work, I'm always wanting to learn new things. In fact, I'm actually taking Seb Lester's calligraphy course at the minute with the parallel pilot pens. I think it's super engaging, really fun, and really easy to pick up. And I think it's only like $10 a month, and you can watch unlimited courses online. So you can learn anything. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.